change lives.
Welcome to a special edition of Out of the Fog. I'm your guest host, Bill Hart. Very excited to be here tonight because we have two great guests we're going to be chatting with. One is a local wrestler who's on the brink of some very big things. That would be Moondog Dylan Davis. He doesn't scare me. Don't tell him I said that, though. And standing by, we have the man of a million stories, and we're going to hear some of those when we welcome Brian Rogers to the show right after this on Out of the Fog on Rogers TV.
You're watching Rogers TV, St. John's.
Yeah, a little bit of duct tape will fix her. She'll be flying again in no time. Hi, I'm Darren Hand, host of Pocket Universe. Each week we feature a variety of artists, filmmakers, writers, and more.
I see a monument or landmark, I want to capture that.
It allows you to make circular motions.
I'm always impressed with the amount of talent that's here on the rock. Join me for Pocket Universe on Rogers TV.
You're watching Rogers TV, St. John's.
All right, welcome back. Really excited about this guest. I've known this gentleman a long, long time, and if you are a hockey fan living in this city, in this province, then this is a man that needs no introduction. Very happy to have seated to my left the legendary Brian Rogers. Brian.
Bill.
Welcome, man.
Oh, gee, man, you don't want me blushing already. You'll be red in the pillow you're squatted on back there.
Well, listen, man, your check cleared, so that's the intro you told me to say.
One out of the three's not bad, eh?
No, not at all. Okay, well, listen, I mean, for those that... how long have you been doing the broadcasting thing? I mean, like, we've all grown up listening to you doing play-by-play and everything. We'll get to that in a moment. But when did it all start?
It started at 20 Oakburn Court in Clayton Park, across the Angus L. MacDonald Bridge, or the A. Murray McCapen, where you were born in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I was born in Halifax, so it started in the basement of our house, listening to CJCH or CHNS radio and miming the disc jockeys. Mom said, "You don't sound too bad, except that your voice is awful squeaky." She said, "But it's gonna crack eventually, Brian. You're almost 16." So I figured, okay, that might be a good thing.
How does a guy from Nova Scotia end up becoming, starting a broadcasting career in this province?
Well, my parents were down at their winter retreat in Boca Raton, Florida, and my Uncle Andy, who was the only Newfoundlander in our family, he's from Bay Largent, Fortune Bay on the south coast. He and my Aunt Lil came to our home to look after my younger brother Paul and myself. His mom and dad were gone to Florida for the winter. So a call came from my buddy Joe Purdy, who was in radio school, CRXL in Halifax, the adult vocational training module. He said, "I don't care what you sound like, I need an announcer. Can you get your fanny up here?" And I said, "Well, I've got 5 months left, and I don't think Rick Green's going to be too happy if I take off." And Joe said, "I don't give a bleep." And he said, "Get your fanny up here." And Billy, I jumped on a EPA flight on a Friday night, the 18th of February, 1975, and I landed in a snowstorm in Goose Bay about 2 hours later. You know, in all honesty, Bill, it came because it was a fluke thing, actually, because I was a DJ, but I was playing senior hockey in the Melville Senior League, and our station manager, who did the play-by-play, was actually refereeing a game that night, and he had nobody to do the game, so I said, "Hey, I'll jump in and do it." So I jumped in and called a senior game in the Lake Melville League in Goose Bay, and then I played 2 hours later in another game as I was in the league. So I went from a play-by-play guy just filling in for our station manager to actually going out and playing the game that night still. And then after that, it just kind of opened the floodgates up a little bit, and then boom.
Well, and
46 years later, we're still sitting here kind of talking back about it. So
a lot of people first heard you with the old St. John's Maple Leafs.
Well, that's what it would have been for sure, and that was because George McLaren, the legend, was gracious enough to step aside, and he opened the gates for me in '94, '95 as the voice of the St. John's Maple Leafs. Now, I was supposed to be the color commentator with George from year one, but my dear friend and one of my best friends, my beloved brother, Brendan McCarthy, of the Telegram, got the color job, which was supposed to be mine, but we became best friends over that. He was devastated by the fact that I wasn't doing it. He was. I said, "Hey, You're with them. I'm with them. Yeah. We're all together here. You do your thing.
Okay, so how long were you doing the play-by-play with the St. John's Maple Leafs?
I did the play-by-play with the Baby Leafs officially from 1994-95 to 2004-2005. That was basically the end of it.
Okay.
So it started with obviously Tom Watt was my very first coach, and he was a beauty. And my last coach would have been Doug Shedden, who was another beauty, to say the least. And I had some great coaches in between. Mark Crawford, of course, was the first coach, and I actually did a game that very first year for George in Halifax, and we won 6-1. Brendan and I actually did that game. That was on December 18th of, let's see, what was our first year? 1991.
Now, you went on the road with the team as well.
Oh, did I?
Now, see, right there. Now, tell me, you must have 76 stories to tell from the road, because I heard some in passing. This is a great chance to find out whether or not these stories are indeed true or not. So I'll throw this one at you right around. Have you ever been involved in a physical altercation on the road? Not through your own, you weren't causing trouble, but you're trying to stop it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, what happens on the road stays on the road.
Is there anything you can tell me about that? Did you, like, I heard you broke up a fight.
I came to the aid of a couple players in a spiffy suit.
Yes.
Dressed to the nines, fresh off a big win over the Binghamton Rangers.
Okay.
Knocked them out of the playoffs.
Oh.
And we got out celebrating, and a couple of our guys got in spots where they probably shouldn't have been. And they weren't being idiots, but the local yokels thought they might have been. So a couple street fighters took umbrage with a couple of them, and I had to jump in, but...
Yeah, wow. What was the coolest arena that you visited? You looked around and thought, this is the best arena I've ever seen in the American Hockey League.
I'm going to have to say the old Hershey Park Arena, Bill, because
Really?
Hershey's a sweet spot, and that's a cheesy cliche, but it really is.
Yeah.
You can eat off the sidewalks down there, and for anybody out there who's never been to Hershey in that area, it's beautiful. Worth taking your children, for sure, even if you're an older kid now, because you can still have lots of fun. Great old rink, like an aircraft carrier, so high up. I remember it me taking at least 10 minutes to walk to the top of it. It only held 6,400, but it was an amazing old rink. The broadcast area, it was almost death-defying trying to get into, and when you got there, you had as much room as I have from here to here, and that's basically it. And a lady with a cowbell who was a Bears season ticket holder rang the bell every time they scored. Of course, right into my ear, so I'd be here for the rest of the third period. But fortunately, the Baby Leafs had great records against the Hershey Bears, and we didn't lose a lot down there, so I was able to keep my sanity. But the one thing about the sweet lady with the cowbell, she always had a hot fudge sundae for you in the third period. Only thing was, Beryl, by the time the game was over, it had melted.
Well, listen, you call so many games, and I know you have so many great moments that you look back on and say, wow, that was a great moment. But this isn't a question I already know the answer to. When you talk about the greatest moments in your broadcasting career, it has to be when you were up there in the box and the Newfoundland Growlers won the Kelly Cup.
I'm going to say yes because of the disappointment of never winning before.
Right.
It was Chris's gig. He did a great job with it. I'm glad to have been a part of that, but that was his gig. It could have been mine, but he was the right guy for it. I just had after heart surgery, you know, some heavy discussions with my family and my boss, Glenn Stanford, and Danny Williams at the time, and I just had to make a decision on it. So that would have been yes. From a rewarding standpoint, after all those years of never winning and coming close on two occasions with the St. John's Maple Leafs, once in 91-92, losing Game 7 on home ice. That was George's call and Brendan's. I was just the host kind of thing. But yeah, I have to admit, Bill, but losing the Calder Cup to the Texas Stars in 2014 was a heartbreak that I never got over.
Yeah.
I have had numerous nightmares about 3 consecutive OT winners, the last one being Patrick Nemeth after we had 3 chances to at least get back in the series. So yes, in a roundabout way, to answer your question, that was a highlight, except that I didn't do squat to earn it.
Well, you know what? You deserve to be there because of all the years you did put in. Like you said, you've been there with all those teams. The image I have, because I was in the arena as well, working with Rogers TV at the time.
That's right.
And I saw on the screen you with your hands on your face, tears in your eyes.
I got
And I
that.
remember turning to Randy Piercy. He's like, man, he's waited for this a long, long time. But I do want to play a clip, and I want to comment on this real quickly, okay? Take a look at this.
Okay.
I have been this happy since my kids were born. Ooh, what a moment.
Okay, so you just said, with tears in your eyes, that was the happiest moment of your life next to your kids being born. What did your wife say about that? I'm sorry to put you on the spot, man.
Hey, babe, you know where we stand, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. That was probably just, like, what I was trying to say at the time was it's the happiest I've been hockey-wise in 30 years,
Right.
and since the birth of Gregory in 78 and Ashley 10 years later in 88. And I don't think Joni took too much umbrage with that because she knows me inside and out, and
Right.
it wasn't for her, I would have never had the opportunity to do everything that I did over a 45-year career in radio, and she was the best thing ever happened to me, obviously. And it happened in Goose Bay.
Yeah.
So it happened before, I fell in love before I became a
There
play-by-play
you go.
broadcaster. So how's that for a sweet answer?
I'll tell you what, kids, that's how you dig yourself out of a hole, the Brian Rogers way. That's how it's done. We're learning about hockey and how to win relationships on this show here today. All right, let's talk a little bit about Chris Abbott. Chris Abbott, of course, man. You talk about a guy that a lot of people didn't know, but everybody loved. He was the guy that brought so much love to Buddy the Puffin. And you know what? Nobody's ever going to be able to duplicate what he has done, and he will surely be missed. But then I learned that there was a time, one time anyway, that you, Brian Rogers, was in the Buddy the Puffin suit. Now, okay, you got to tell everyone this story.
Well, I've been in a number of times, actually, over the years. I'll give you a quick hit from St. Kevin's Elementary when I was Buddy. I got mugged by about 4 or 5 young school students. And as I was halfway going to the ground in the Buddy the costume, I was there, Buddy doesn't need buddies like you guys. And I had like 5 or 6 of them on top
Right.
of me, and it was all for love. Anyways,
Exactly.
I came out of that unscathed, just a couple bruises,
Yeah.
more internally than anything else. Yes, I was Buddy the Puffin on a deer at the AHL All-Star Classic in Portland, Maine. I believe it was 2000, 2001. Brad Boyce was our lone representative. And on a late-night dare from my boss, Glenn Stanford, who said in a hospitality suite run by the Leafs, said, no, Brian, I bet you $100 US you will not jump in Buddy the Puffin's costume. And I said, yeah. I said, I'll take that bet. Of course, it was 2 in the morning, and I probably had about too many Coors Light in me at the time. So that happened too frequently, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyways, I took up the bet, and when I got in to go get the Buddy the Puffin, some kid was already dressed in it, and all it was left was the Wolfpack from Hartford uniform. And I said to the young guy in Buddy the Puffin, I said, excuse me, you in the Puffin suit? And yes, I said, take that off. He goes, pardon me? I said, take off the Puffin suit. I need that. There's $100 riding on this. I need the suit right now, pal. So he didn't want to, but I explained to him who I was and, that I needed to put the Puffin costume on. And so I did indeed, Bill, put on the costume. I made a holy show of myself in the Cumberland County Civic Center, accidentally knocked over 2 or 3 people's beers.
Oh,
I had
no.
to stop, get their names, and go back and buy them beer after I got out of the suit and so on. But I also lost my head during a tussle with Fleaburn from St. John, New Brunswick. So
This is on the ice.
this is on the ice.
You lost Buddy's head.
Well, yes, I said to Fleaburn, we have to tussle, we have to go because it's only thing that separates you and I is an apostrophe, St. John and St. John's.
Yeah.
So here we go. And so we get into it, and we were having a bit of fun. We were playing actually hockey in the intermission, and so I figured, 5 or 6 minutes in, it was go time, but unfortunately I didn't think I was going to lose my lid. And I lost the Buddy lid, and a lot of children in the Cumberland County Civic Center, including Debbie Slaney, John's brothers, children were scarred for life because Buddy lost his head. So I I was panicking, and I could hear the oohs and ahs and such, and I got to the head, and I got it on my head, and Bill, when I put it on, it was on backwards.
Oh,
and I could hear the roar of the crowd and the anguish, and so I started spinning it, and then it was spinning so quickly, I thought it was, maybe part of The Exorcist or something revisited.
Oh, no.
Pardon, that was a silly way to compare it. But anyways, I finally got the head back on, and it carried on, then it went off again. And just to quickly wrap up the story, in the media sector of the Cumberland County Civic Center was my dear friend Ken Wiebe of the Winnipeg Sun, who still does a great job with Jets broadcast, and my longtime soul brother and best friend Brendan McCarthy of the Telegram. And Kenny Wiebe, while they were banging out stories, said, he took a second glance and said, my gosh, that looks like Brian Rogers. And what he was seeing was the cul-de-sac, the hole in the haircut and such. And Brendan McCarthy leaned over, took a studious look and said, Kenny, that is Brian Rogers. So I won the bet, Bill. I'm happy to say I won the $100 from Mr. Stanford, and I spent it wisely on our group that night.
Wow!
In a bar just to celebrate. It was just it was a sweet moment because I thought about Chris, and he couldn't be there, and he always normally was, and I knew how much joy he brought to the hockey world, and he was the glue of our franchise forever, and he still is to this day. Doesn't matter if it's a ground or ice cap or relief. Chris will always be the guy, right? And so just to be able to fill in and do that on a number of occasions was a defining moment. Very proud to say, yes, I did. So I might have been a good boy for the most part, but I was a bad boy sometimes too, but hey.
That's life. That's life.
That's hockey, baby.
Brian Rogers, we could spend hours talking hockey. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time left, so we're going to have to get together again soon and rehash some more stories, because I know you're full of them. I know you're full of hockey stories.
I've been told I'm full of a lot of stuff, Billy, but hockey stories, it's been a pleasure, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for dropping by. Okay, we're going to be back in just a moment with our next guest here on Out of the Fog on Rogers TV.
It all started when I racked up some serious debt. Interest payments were going up, creditors were calling. Janes and Noseworthy came up with a plan. Knowing that the phone was going to stop ringing and that I was not in this alone was a huge relief. Bankruptcy or a consumer proposal or whatever help you get is not the end. It's just the beginning. A chance to start again with knowledge and support and people in your corner. Are you ready? Get out of debt. It's okay.
Learn more about Leah's story at janesnoseworthy.ca.
Your mouth can do a lot of amazing things. And your mouth can save a life.
Hi, I'm Tom Wong. I'm just one of close to 1,000 Canadians in search of a stem cell match. We need your help.
A simple swab is all you need to register on the National Stem Cell Database. You could be the one to save a life. Find the hero in you.
Welcome back to Out of the Fog. Our next guest, well, just look at this.
I've been chasing that ECPW title for years. I've been told I was too short. I was told I wasn't good enough. And in politics, the politics, they always got in the way. But on October 2nd, I finally get my shot to become your new ECPW champion. And there's nobody, and I mean nobody, is gonna get in my way. Not Lincoln Steen, not Riddick Stone, because the one thing about triple threats is there's no rules. And when there's no rules, Moondog wins.
Yes, fierce, tough, and from right here, born and raised, very happy to welcome our next guest, Moondog Dylan Davis. Yeah. Sir, and I use that most respectfully, of course.
Oh yeah, Bill.
Those are some pretty big arms you got there.
Well, thank you. It's many years on the boats and many years lifting weights and fighting. It's bound to happen, right?
That's right.
Bound to happen.
All right. No doubt. Now, we just saw that promo. You were about to talk about a triple threat match. That was in Cape Breton, I understand?
Yes, this was this past summer in Cape Breton for ECPW. See, I was set to face Lincoln Steen and Riddick Stone for the ECPW championship.
Yeah.
And Bill, I came that close once again to that belt. But you know what?
What?
I never got it.
Did they screw you over here?
They screwed me over, Bill.
Yeah. So you should have won that title.
I had it. I was that close, Bill.
Yeah. That close.
That close.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez. So how long have you been doing this, hitting the streets and hitting the wrestling rings and beating people up?
I've been doing this now for about 16 years.
Yeah.
16 years, all over the island, all over Canada, you name it,
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah. And have you ever been hurt doing this?
Yes, Bill. It's tough sport. Tough sport.
I would never do it.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
Why
no.
not?
I'm not tough. I'm rather fragile.
Ah, see, that's your first mistake, see.
Yeah.
If you think you're not tough,
Yeah.
well, you're not going to make it.
Well, I'm tall.
I'm
Yeah.
short, but I guess it sort of balances out, right?
Yeah, well, no doubt you kick my butt.
I will, you know, I wouldn't try, though.
I don't want to meet you in an alley or a dark side on George Street if you're in a bad mood.
No, it never happens.
No. No. Oh, so you hurt? Like, did you ever break anything?
Yeah, see, I've had like broken fingers, dislocated shoulder, concussions, black eyes. No, nothing too serious.
Yeah.
Nothing that kept me sort of on the sidelines. But again, tough sport.
It is.
You're gonna get a few smacks here and there, right?
Right. So when you're hurt, you still have to carry on with your match.
That's the way it is.
You don't want to walk away because they'll think you're a wuss or something.
Listen.
Hey, I'm not calling you a wuss. I'm just saying I don't want people thinking.
I'm gonna say this once to you, Bill.
Sure.
The line, you don't cross that here.
I'll never.
I can take this stump and just...
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Right?
I know. I just don't want people thinking that you were weak. Because, I mean, if you walk out of the ring, people are going to think that, look at him walking away, what a coward.
True.
Again, that's them, not me.
True. No, see, it's definitely a tough sport. There's no off season.
Mm-hmm.
There's no breaks, unless you're one of the ones that takes this sport as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I myself, I take this very seriously, so I put my all into it.
You know, somebody was noticing what you've been doing, because you got an invite to a very, very interesting wrestling contest. Tell us about this.
All right, so this summer, my phone rang, and it was Jacques Rougeau, the Mountie.
Yes.
Former tag team champion.
Right.
You know, former Intercontinental champion.
For the WWF, yeah, he's a bona fide superstar.
So he called me. He said, Dylan, I want the best in Canada. He said, we have this contest called Wrestling Academy 2022. Wrestlers from all over Canada, the very best.
Right.
Females, males, tag teams.
Right.
It's a contest. Each week we fight, fans vote, and at the end of it all, whoever wins, they get $5,000
Right.
plus 3.5 months at the Nightmare Factory for AEW.
Now, AEW, one of the world's most popular federations in wrestling today.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a shot that no one here has gotten in ever.
Wow.
And me being the only Newfoundlander in this contest, I'm going into this with a lot of pride, because if I don't win, I'll let everyone here down, and that's a big deal to me.
Well, listen, you mentioned pride. I noticed on your outfit here, you got the Newfoundland flag.
Of course.
So you know, people, when you walk through the ring anywhere across Canada, they know where you come from. And I noticed you're known as Moondog, and that's an obvious honor and nod to one Moondog, Sailor White. And so he's a hero of yours, or?
Yeah, so I came into this when I was like 15. So he wasn't really around then much. He would be at the shows, hanging out and stuff, but I never got a chance to work with him at all. You know, but throughout the years, you hear about him and the legacy he's made here. And I thought to myself that like he never got the full credit that he should have.
Right.
And his legacy shouldn't stop here.
Now, Moondog was the name he went by when he was wrestling in the World Wrestling Federation.
Yes.
He was actually a tag team champion, and many people don't know that. Someone from right here in the province, he carried one of those belts.
Yeah, all over the world too. He wrestled all over the world.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, Egypt, everywhere, you name it. And I myself, I still have yet to like travel as much as he has.
Yeah.
It's a goal for sure, but I don't think in my lifetime I'm ever gonna achieve what he has.
Yeah.
From back then, but I'll still try.
Well, listen, this contest you're involved in, you get down to that Fear Factory. The world is going to see.
Yeah.
How cool would it be to have someone go to a ring on one of these big pay-per-views, you know, from Newfoundland and Labrador, or if someone, God forbid, said Newfoundland, and you grab them by the scruff of the neck and say Newfoundland and Labrador, buddy.
Yeah. Just you say get it right. Yes. Don't get it at all.
I would love to see that. I've met Sailor White a number of times. Now, how many matches do you think you've had in your career?
I'm up there now about, I want to say, 750.
Wow.
At least, and that's only because I chose to leave home for a bit. I left.
Right.
I was away for 5 years. which is when the work rate picked up. So I wrestled every weekend, almost, you know. So that's where my work rate picked up. So 750 around there,
For me, one.
One match?
One. Well, I didn't wrestle.
Okay.
I was asked by Sailor White many, many years ago, and this was in Carbonear. He asked me to be a special guest referee. And I thought, okay, I don't think I can get hurt making a 3 count. At least I thought so anyway. And I said, okay, I'll do it. However, he didn't want me going into the ring as Bill Hart. He put a pair of rubber boots on me, a pair of shorts and a plaid shirt and a ski mask, and gave me an axe, sent me to the ring as Chainsaw Earl. That's, now if you're familiar with the Buddy, what's his name, and the other fellow's song, yes, that Chainsaw Earl. That was my entrance theme. I came into the ring like that. It was a mixed tag. I walked in there, I had no idea what I was doing, but I got an up close and personal look at these guys bouncing, and these were big dudes. And well, I did my 3 count. The good guys won. And you know, I thought it was fair anyway, but I guess the bad guys didn't like it too much, and they pushed me down and started kicking me. And the thing was, it's like, this is hurt. This hurts.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess you really can't fake a kick because they were kicking me in the ribs, and I'm sitting there trying to cover myself.
Yeah.
Of course, I left the ring, grabbed my axe, and chased them out of the ring. So that was it.
Like you would. Yeah, you have
that was it.
What do you do?
That was my one and only time to show a little bit of Newfoundland toughness. Nothing compared to what I didn't get hurt as much as you. All right, thanks again. That is Moondog Dylan Davis, and we'll be back in a moment on Out of the Fog.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
Seems Moondog was a little upset that we gave more interview time to Brian Rogers. We apologize for that. I want to thank Rogers TV for letting me guest host Out of the Fog, and a special thank you to our guests, Moondog Dylan Davis, and of course Brian Rogers. Thank you for coming by and not messing up the place. Who's cleaning this up? Hello? Anyone? Anyone? No? I'm not cleaning this up.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social